the Healing Hour, and I'm your host, Tyhson Banighen, the wizard, the empath. Not a psychopath, an empath. So this is your show. This is a live talking show. We're here for you for the next hour. So phone in and you can ask anything about dowsing, energy healing, your moon sign, your astrological sign, what's up in your life or what's up in planet Earth. Lots going on, lots of energy flowing through the stars, the moon, and through us. And so the toll-free number, it should be on the screen, 1-866-369-7464. The phone is on. I'll just make sure that it's on and the ringer's on. And we're standing by for your call. In the meantime, my lovely co-host, Kory Varlen, the one and only extraordinary astrologer, has a lot that she'd like to share with you today. So take it away, Kory.
Well, hi, Tyhson. Thank you. Yeah, today is an interesting beginning for many of us. Kind of think of it as a refit, retooling, because Jupiter, as of last Thursday, went retrograde, and Jupiter moved into Aquarius, as many people remember, at Christmas time, along with Saturn. There was a big Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius, and Jupiter has been moving steadily through the sign of Aquarius, and then popped into Pisces. And now what's happened is Jupiter is retrograding. It's going back into Aquarius because, god darn it, it just loves being in Aquarius so much. But that has significance for people. And a lot of people poo-hoo what's called solar astrology, you know, where they just give these blanket descriptions for, well, if you're a Libra and you're like this, or if you're a Taurus, this is what's going on. But actually there's a lot of trend. There's a lot that you can say about just these basic generalities, because that's how astrology evolved. It evolved from, you know, people making observations, and then everybody had their pet theories, and before you know it, you've got research, which is just a bigger word for stories.
Yeah, and then you got confirmation that you actually were right.
Yeah, and so the difference between, you know, hey, here's my theory, and hey, here's research. It's just the numbers. It's like religion. The difference between religion and cults, it's just a matter of numbers, right? So, may I digress, which I always do. But as all my clients know, whatever they pay for, they get tons more time whenever they book a session. So here we go. I'm going to start with Pisces, because yesterday I was working with a wonderful woman, a client by the name of Wendy. Wendy knows who she is. I met her through you, Tyhson. Wendy is quite the listener to our show. And Wendy is a Piscean. And yesterday I had three, not sessions, but I had a session and two major contacts with Pisceans. And I noticed this trend. So for Pisceans, the whole issue right now is being able to kind of, you have to kind of go back in time a little bit and do some retrofitting of your kind of your spiritual process. And so many Pisceans, because of the Jupiter moving into Pisces, thought that everything was clear, and that's not the case, because Jupiter is going back. And in Aquarius, what it does for Pisceans is it just makes you really have to realize that your intuition is spot on. And there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you have no idea why things are happening. But it's not the time to go into past life theory and like why I am the way I am because of, you know, hexes or whatever. It's a time to trust your instincts, trust your angels, your angelic guides. So it's a really big time for Pisceans in terms of their spiritual development. And conversely, for Virgos listening, and I'm getting a lot of people booking sessions now with planets in Virgo. So you could have a Virgo ascendant, your moon could be in Virgo. You have a lot of planets in Virgo. And all these people now are really concerned about their health. Like major health issues are happening for people with a lot of planets in Virgo right now. And so between last week, I'd say Thursday, and mid-October, everyone's going to go through this kind of retooling, this refit. But it's really important right now for Pisceans and Virgos. And I'll just start with that, and we can actually go through all the signs throughout the show. But that's my intro, Tyhson.
Well, you know, I'm not neither of that, but what you had to say about trusting your guidance and being clear with that, you know, it sort of speaks to my heart as well. I mean, I think this is the time where we can't rely on any factor of truth where normally there were sources of truth that we believed, whether it was a news or a doctor or Indian chief or whoever or whatever. We're really at this time on the planet thrown back to our own resources and our own
Yes.
intuition and our own guidance. So
Yes.
when people sort of stand in front of me and say, "What should I do?" I really say, "Well, tune in and get your guidance." It's not for me to tell you, but I can certainly help you learn how to tune in and get the
Yes.
message yourself.
And as anyone knows who knows you in the show, like you have your protocols that you've developed over many years, right?
Yeah, to help people get out of their own ways so that they can
Yeah.
stand in their truth and receive crystal clear guidance, right?
Yeah.
And become a sovereign human being, not pushed
Right.
around by any
Exactly. And
conditionary,
I and
any,
I see so many people, and one of the reasons I actually I actually got out of the business. I was an astrologer, as you know, by the time I was 11 years old. And in my 20s, I had a lot of fame and fortune because of being an astrologer. But in my 20s, I mean, I was, moving into the 80s, and the whole 80s thing was just about money and profit. And I just saw so many people in the New Age movement, and I had to walk away from it all because they were just so into lining their pockets and just the bullshit that they were laying on their clients. I just couldn't stand it.
yeah, it was really amazing how all of a sudden the hippie, love, peace, brotherhood were on the cusp of a new age of Aquarius, and we love each other unconditionally, or we're supposed to be trying to do that. And all of a sudden they all became yuppies. I don't quite know
Yeah,
what
well,
happened there.
yeah, well, that was the 80s. That's what happened. And Bill Clinton just rode on that wave. And so, anyways, that's okay. It got me into other forms of, work that I love to do. I became a, teacher. I've been a public school teacher. I've traveled the world teaching ESL. I love language. I love the English language. But I also love, like you, I'm a mystic, and I just love turning people onto their own inner guidance, which is so critical now. Like, you have to listen to your inner guidance, and we all have it. There are so many people around us that love us, and they're not in this dimension, but trust me, they're there, and they're totally willing. All we have to do is ask.
Yeah, and this is the time where we've been, if we think about the evolution of consciousness on the planet, moving towards cosmic consciousness was one with everything, understanding that we are one and never have been separated, and any separation is illusion. This is a time when many are, triggered to awaken
Yes.
the planet. And those that are awakened, if you're wondering what the F is going on, who am I, and why is this Kundalini or energy flowing through my body? I don't understand this. Then I suggest you get on that phone, that toll-free number, and give us a call, and we'll help you understand what's happening with you. Because certainly for my clients, they're just like, "Whoa, what is all this energy I have? I don't know how to manage, and I feel overwhelmed. It's like burning sensations and this and that." And the more people are waking up is what we're getting at, and a lot of people don't know what that's all about, and so it's very unusual symptoms in their body that for some people can be a bit scary.
Yeah, and that's a lovely segue into what I want to talk about for Librans. So
Ah,
I'm going to talk about the Libra and Aries axis right now in terms of this Jupiter retrograde. So for Librans, there's a lot of retooling and what we call refitting in terms of your love life and
oh,
your creative potential. So it's interesting, Tyson, because I know you're a Libran. And so what you're going to be finding is a lot of people are going to be attracted to this kind of almost like this romantic energy that you're now being um, bathed in, shall we say? Because
I
for
gotta
all
say it's
Libran,
crazy. It's absolutely insane.
isn't it
You
true?
know,
I mean, this is
oh, it's
Libran
insane.
energy right now. It's about love and romance and creativity.
Yeah, I got everything from 21-year-olds courting me all the way to 90-year-olds. It's like ridiculous. Like, what's going on here? Like,
Well, I'm telling you what's going on. It's Jupiter, and Jupiter is going to be playing with you till mid-October, and it's going to get you to redefine your sense of sexuality and how great you feel about your sexuality, and for Aries as well. But Aries is a little more platonic, so Arians are going through the retooling as well. But in terms of like, hey, like I can set the boundaries here for what I want in terms of my friendships. And so
mhm.
for Aries, they're going through a lot of this, like I don't want to go to bed with you. I just want to like have a cup of coffee with you.
Yeah, these are clear boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the
Yeah, I think
Aries,
that's really
yeah,
confusing now because as the Kundalini energy rises, there's such a narrow margin, or our society has put delineations and things that, attraction, sexuality, kundalini, rising one's vibrational, one's psychic ability are all the same energy. And so we can misinterpret, the fact that we have this attraction to somebody. It doesn't mean that, like you said, it doesn't mean we need to go sleep with everybody. Maybe it's a cup of coffee, but it gets confusing because it's
Yes,
similar energy. Like,
yes,
what is this energy that I'm feeling? Why am I attracted to this person?
yeah.
And why I'm being guided to reach out to them.
So
So
as a Libra, you're definitely in a position right now, and especially until for all signs, this energy changed last Thursday, and it's going to go until mid-October. But for the Librans, especially, it's really a lot about, I guess, what's fueling it all. Truly, Tyson is the rise of the. We can say Kundalini, but that's just your creative force, like the
right,
second
yeah,
chakra, right? That's sexual, but that sexual energy is what's fueling most people's creativity.
that is true, right? We
Yeah.
forget that we don't need to get stuck in that second chakra, right?
Well, we need to use it as fuel.
Yeah, a fuel of creativity, of creation, of a new earth, of a new beginning, of a
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. So shall I move on to Taurus and Scorpio?
Oh, absolutely. I wanted to just hang around with the Librans, but no, I can.
I know. You're not going to hog us the limelight. It's your show. I
I
know.
know. Okay, right. Move on.
All right. So for Tauruses and Scorpios, for Tauruses, you're getting a refit in terms of your career axis. And so a lot of Taurians right now really need to take a second look at how they're working in the world and what they do in terms of their career path and their calling, as we say, the higher calling. And so many Tauruses right now, in fact, for everybody, please look back 12 years, or about 12 years, maybe 13, maybe 11. 1 year doesn't matter. So about 12 years ago, because Jupiter's cycle is 12 years. So every 12 years we get this refit that happens. So around 12 years ago, maybe it was 11, maybe it was 13. Don't call me a liar for 1 year. Many Taurians did something in their career that they probably shouldn't have done.
Mm.
So,
Well,
if you look back again, 11, 12, 13 years ago, around this time, actually, too, the summertime, a lot of Taurians had, like, because I know a lot of Taurians, and they had these second thoughts about, I don't know, I really want to change career, but I'm not sure. And so a lot of Taurians took the easy route. Taurians can do that. uh, and speaking as one, it's just so much easier just to lie down and roll in the grass.
right. Forget it all.
Yeah, and so now it's coming around again, and it's just an opportunity to say, like, what do I need to do to really amp up my career and what I'm doing more on a global level. And for Scorpios, that's actually happening more on their home environment. They're actually, again, I have so many Scorpios in my life. I have a Scorpio ascendant, so I attract a lot of Scorpios, and they're all throwing out I mean, literally, they're cleaning out their basements. They're taking thousands of dollars worth of stuff to the Sally Ann, and they're refitting their houses.
Well, I don't know. Some of that's contagious over here. I don't know. Darlene's been cleaning from the bottom up. Like, I can't find anything because it's upside down in a new way, right?
Well,
In a good way.
she's probably got some major Scorpio planets going on. But I had a client the other day who found a Gucci bag in her basement, and she went online, and it's worth over $1,000.
Well, I don't think I have any Gucci bags in my basement. That would be nice. But
And what's interesting is she found it on Friday, and my card for Friday, well, people who follow me on Instagram know this, but the cosmic algorithm for Friday was prosperity.
wow,
And here this woman digs up a Gucci bag in her basement worth $1,000.
wow.
I mean, come on, people. It's like, you got to get my cards.
That's right. Yeah, well, about your cards, I mean, there's a card for every single day, right? So there's 365 cards, right?
There's 365 cards, but they're divided into decks.
Right.
And so to manage it all, I had to, create 12 separate decks. So there's a deck for every zodiac sign. And the idea is you collect them all, and then you're good for life. You've got guidance for the rest of your life once you get all 12 decks, because the patterns just repeat.
Right.
So every day, that's how I figured this out. Like, there's these patterns that just keep repeating.
Well, I have my friend Glenn has actually calculated out that there's sacred geometry for every single day. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden there's a null day when there's no pattern whatsoever. It's like God took a day off or something. and then it starts all over again. It's really fascinating. He's got books and books of all this geometry for each day. So
Yeah.
it
And
makes
actually
sense.
where I see that too, within every day, there's this period where there's just almost an infinite, it's kind of like a black hole opens up every
Yeah,
day. And then it's like you can create whatever the hell you want.
yeah. If you know when that black hole is arriving, right?
Yeah, and that's why astrologers are kind of blessed. Like I never started out in this world to make a million dollars. So a lot of astrologers who work on Wall Street and work with Wall Street clients, and they're rich. They're fabulously rich.
Well, we better get to work then.
Well, I'm not interested in that.
Well,
Just,
I could do with some money right now. I have some bills to pay, so I'm
yeah.
not proud. I'm not proud. We
Oh,
can do
okay.
it.
Well, I'll turn you on to who they are. Okay, now the next category is the Geminis and the Sagittarians, and I
Yeah.
know you have a moon in Sagittarius. And today, by the way, the moon is traveling through the constellation of Gemini,
Hmm.
which is probably why I'm feeling more chatty than normal, because the Gemini energy is about communication and just kind of, keeping things moving. And Gemini, as I probably have said it many times here, it's all about curiosity.
Right. Right.
So if you're a Gemini right now, it's about thinking about going back to school, and is that really a good idea? So a lot of Geminis, if you're thinking about going back to school, give me a call. You might not want to be spending thousands and thousands of
Well,
dollars.
you better give me a call and we'll book you into the Wellness
Yeah,
Academy,
well, call both
and,
of us.
and you'll get something worthwhile doing, right?
Yeah, because a lot of times I have to say I've got 2 university degrees and they're almost useless.
Well, I have two of them as well. And
It's like, truly what you're learning in universities this day, you can basically get online. I can teach anybody astrology in probably 2 years if you want to come study with me, and it won't cost you. I mean, it's just crazy what universities are charging now. Anyways, my main thought here is if you are a Gemini and you have a Gemini ascendant or your moon is in Gemini, please do some rethinking about whether or not you need to go back to school for upgrades, because you're probably being sold a bill of goods.
right.
You don't. And that's actually the same for Sagittarians, except Sagittarians right now are really lucky because the world around them is showing them kind of like in a very concrete way, like what their education is worth. And so if you are thinking of going back to school or getting more education, it should be on a very practical level.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. It's very practical, even right down to how to grow food or, how to do ecoforestry or how to restore the planet. It needs to be concrete as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So for Sagittarians, I would just say nothing too theoretical. And if you are thinking of going into physics right now, I don't know, might not be the best time to be
Yes.
studying that. But for Sagittarians, the best thing I could say, or if you have the moon in Sagittarius or a Sagittarian ascendant, is just play around in your local community and just see what you can do within your local, basically your immediate environment to make things better.
Well, I'm just getting a break here and remind everybody that this is their show. It doesn't sound like it is at the moment because we're busy chatting away, which we can do for a full hour or two. So, but if you would like to have some questions answered, if you'd like to know about your moon rising or what's happening with the planets in your life, or maybe you're going through some major change or transformation, like some assistance, then phone in toll free. North America, 1-866-369-7464. Numbers on the screen. If you want to come in by WhatsApp, which is international, it's 1 for Canada, 250-803-2480, and have a talk with us, right? And if you really want to join us for the show and be front and center when we go live, you can always join us on Zoom during this hour. You just you go to join, you just type in my name, Tyhson, and it's on the screen, TYHSON, and boom, you are in and you will be a guest on the show. We will invite you on. All right, so that's it. So we're open for you to dial in and give us a call. So going on, so we got, where were we with all this? We were,
Right. I just finished up about the Gemini Sagittarius retrofits.
yeah.
Now I'm
Oh,
going to look
no.
at the Cancerians out there and the Capricorns.
All right.
So hear ye, all Cancerians out there. Of course, we just went through your time. You were all stars in the last month, we've just come through the sign of Cancer. So for Cancerians right now, I want to caution you about going to the bank and getting anything like second mortgages or anything to do with refinancing. That might not be a good idea right now.
Mm.
So just hang on to your shekels and try to find ways within your family to get financing rather than going to the banks,
Okay.
because you will look back in the beginning of November and you will go, what in the freaking,
Thank
you
you.
know
Yeah,
what did I do?
right.
Very cautionary tale right now for Cancerians and Capricorns. Capricorns right now are in a very, very dangerous part of the year because Jupiter is trying to hold you back in terms of the way you're spending your money.
Mm.
And so I would just tell
A little
Capricorns,
excessive, are they? A little excessive?
yes, yes, there's a lot of pressure right now for Capricorns to be spending money thinking, well, I could die tomorrow and I guess my insurance will pay off my credit card debts. Not so. I know a lot of credit card companies, they'll take it out of your inheritance and your will. So anyways, long story short, Capricorns, hang on to your shekels, block away your credit cards till mid October because there's just such a tendency right now to want to spend money. And you're not as rich as you think you are. That's just my bottom line for Capricorns. So,
Wow.
okay. And quickly, I'll just move on to the last two signs, Leo and Aquarius. I've saved the best for last. We are in the time of Leo, and Leo is particularly having a difficult time right now with their partnerships. I have many Leo friends, and they're all dealing with their partner's problems. Not theirs. They're, well, it is theirs because it's their
Right.
partner's problems. So Leos are doing a lot of um, they're very tired right now, most of them, because they're dealing with taking care of either, it's mostly their partners. Some of them it's their family, but it's mostly their partners. So you just have to have a lot of patience right now if you're dealing with a sick or a partner that's going through, difficult time. And for Aquarians, Aquarians are going through a refit in terms of how great their life is right now. Aquarians, since Christmas, have had a wonderful run because of that Saturn Jupiter conjunction at the end of December. And so Aquarians have been just, going full tilt boogie.
Mm.
And now the brakes are on. So if you're wondering why your life seems stuck, Aquarians, it's because Jupiter is retrograding and it's telling you, hold on, Nelly, it ain't as
Slow
grass
down.
ain't as green over there as you think it is. So if you're an Aquarian, you might want to book a session with either Tyson or myself because things have slowed down and it's not your fault. It's just the way things are. You've got to reevaluate your life right now. Like you're not as great as you think you are, and if you think you are that great, you are headed for trouble.
Right. So there's some deeper issues that need to be cleared.
Yeah, Aquarians for sure have some issues about their ego right now.
Right. Yeah. Well, being an Aquarian and the ego's not an easy job for them anyway. So when this gets heightened up, it makes it even more difficult, right?
Yeah, so that's my little preview into the basic energy patterns globally for all signs. And again, this will run until mid October. So
Right.
when Jupiter goes retrograde, it does caution all of us just to be watching our resources and save for a rainy day. That's my final message. Save for a rainy day. All of us need to do that. You need to find a way to put some shekels away.
Well, I need to first of all be able to be in a position to put something away. So we're one step away from that, right? Or anyway, yeah. So very interesting, and so much is going on. Uh, so talk a bit about the Jupiter energy because it's huge and it's expansive, and it's I don't know if a lot of people understand what Jupiter is all about.
Well, first of all, let me tell you astronomically, Jupiter in our solar system is a true angel. It acts as a magnetic force that attracts all those flying, you know, pieces of rubble and
Yeah,
asteroids and comets.
yeah,
And it basically is like a gatekeeper that keeps the inner solar system safe.
yeah.
And I mean, when I learned that, I was just blown away because I just thought, wow, that is just so freaking true. Like we probably have been blown to smithereens by now if it wasn't for Jupiter and its huge, huge gravitational field that protects us.
Yeah, I know when the mystical work, because every planet has spirits or angels, if you can relate to that. The Jovian ones are huge. They're gigantic beings, right? And
Yep.
super, super powerful. And as you say, they are gatekeepers in a huge, huge way, right? So when you work with those type of angels, you can, well, for example, you want blue skies, they're the guys you want to call on, right? Because blue skies and cleaning up, chemtrails and everything is like second nature to them. Like it's like one little flip of a wing and that's done. Yeah, huge, 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 amazing beings, right? And a
And
lot of, yeah,
sorry, Tyson, I was just going to say what's interesting is in your astrological chart, when you look at where Jupiter is placed, where like we find that planet,
yeah,
because every planet is somewhere in your astrological, blueprint.
yeah,
And when I find where your Jupiter is, that's like guardian angel over that area of your life. So, like if you have Jupiter in what we call the sixth house, like your health is blessed. If you have Jupiter in the 10th house, your career is blessed. If you
right,
have a Jupiter ascendant, if you have Jupiter rising or in what we call your ascending sign, usually you're tall or you're bigger
right.
because Jupiter gives you that extra pizzazz, that extra
That
presence.
extra,
And
yeah,
it's
good.
interesting, how many tall people have a Jupiter rising or have Sagittarius in their chart because it makes you bigger.
Wow. Well, that's really fascinating. So it really has even an influence on the structural structure of your body. Yeah,
Well, of course, because energy does that, right?
yeah,
Form follows energy. Exactly.
yeah,
In
yeah. I
fact,
think that.
I often just have so much fun looking at people, not even knowing their chart or whatever. And I go, that person's got to have a Sag ascendant because they're just so tall.
Uh, yeah, they go on forever. Yeah. Interesting. Well, don't forget, everybody, the lines are open 1-866-369-7464. We had some great callers last week, but it seems to be quiet on the Western Front here. Lots happening, though, on planet Earth. My goodness. Yeah. We're surrounded by fire here, or at least smoke. I don't see any fire, but we're just like socked in. I've never seen it quite so bad. And it did pretty well. The first thing in the morning, I had to have lights on, right? Because you can't see anything.
Oh,
So, yeah. So we've been going through a lot of transformation and change as the world burns up around us. So,
do you remember back in 2018 when all that smoke was coming in from Sweden?
mm, no, I really don't. But tell me,
Well, that was just a pretty
precursor to this, eh?
that was just a pretty kind of cloudy time. I remember I had some friends trying to come up from the States and they said, God, there's nowhere to go anywhere on the planet because you can't go anywhere anymore because the global weather is affecting everywhere now, right? Like
Right.
you can't just go run off to Bali anymore. It's like there might be smoke over there as well.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and thank goodness that at least the smoke over there that they're doing with the incense burning can maybe mitigate some of the smoke over here. So I love Bali. They're always doing ceremony. They're always
Yes, I remember you telling me you spent some time there. How lucky for you.
yeah. I watched the rice grow, which was a very important job, right?
Really?
Yeah, no,
Wow.
just sit there and it grows.
All
And
because of you.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
like watching the corn grow in Iowa.
exactly. And I remember going down the steps where I was staying, and all of a sudden, one of these flowers, that all of a sudden burst open beside me, almost
Mm.
jump, like just
Oh,
boom, like that, right? Like this full explosion. Like
wow.
everything in ballet, when it comes to the senses, is at the highest, right? So that's why it's such a creative place in Ubud for artists. Artists come
Mhm.
from all over the world because I guess the energy of the planet there is so creative. They feel inspired, right, to to generate. And there's right in Ubud, in the marketplace, there's a Ganesh, a statue that
Mm.
was beside a banyan tree, and the banyan tree has grown all the way around, and you can just see him looking through
Oh, wow.
the
How
banyan tree. Right?
cosmic is that?
Yeah, it's just like everything is like that, right?
Yeah.
Everything
I
is
was I was talking to my neighbor a couple of days ago, and like you, he'd spent time in Ubud, and he just said, "Oh, he said he couldn't go back because it would just burst and break all of his dreams of his first impressions of life there." He said that nothing could compete with that.
yeah. I have to say that of all the places I've been, and when I think about Ubud, there's a special place in my heart for there.
Mm.
Just There's something.
That's something to say, Tyson, because you've been all over the world.
Yeah, but I think it's because I was able to be there for an extended period of time, and also the couple I was close to at that time, like I said, made jewelry and sold jewelry, and it was really high end, expensive jewelry, some of which I own. And so I got to meet all the artisans, which was exciting, right? The wood carvers, and
Yeah.
because all the temple carvers, right? All and the bell rung players, and all those instruments, and all the theater, everything has to be handmade. So
Of
there's
course.
artisans
Yeah.
everywhere, right? Everywhere.
Yeah. I want to go to Bali. I don't know, at some point. I'm not vaccinated, so it looks like I won't be traveling for a while, thanks to you. I read
Well,
the
I
report.
don't know about.
I read the reports.
Did you?
Yes, thank you for sending them. But I really do. I'd love to go and stay in some of these beautiful old Balinese, hotels and villages, and get the real authentic experience, because that's how I like to travel.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why staying in place and renting a place and just letting it all happen. I remember my neck was out of joint, and so I asked the local people. So, and they said, "Oh, we'll send somebody over." So he comes over, and he's got this bottle of ointment, like it's sort of like a Pepsi bottle or something like that, and he does this all over my hair, and he feels my neck, and he just grabs me by the hair, and he goes, "Yeah, yeah," and it goes clunk, 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 and everything goes in, right? But it literally he used my hair as a handle to do the adjustment, right? Walks away, and that was it.
Well, I have to say, speaking of hair, I studied with some kahunas in Hawaii back in the that magical 1984 year, and I studied with one of the top healers in Hawaii, and she taught me how to basically extract the energy by just pulling on my hair. And she says that, and I could show anyone, everyone. It's just, you just, by pulling your hair, you get to release a lot of energy that gets trapped in your hair. And for a lot of people who have very thick hair, and I used to have incredibly thick hair when I was younger, and I used to get migraines all the freaking time. And it was because the energy was getting trapped in my hair. And what this kahuna taught me was just how to, and they do it in Reiki now too, I think. Like, you just pull the hair, and then you have to flick the energy off with your hands. And
Well,
that will help. That
Samson
will
and
help.
Delilah, right? I mean, Samson lost his power when his hair was cut. So,
Yes.
I mean,
There's,
that's
yeah.
there's the stories about when the natives were, and then I think it was the Navajo were brought into, I think, World War II as scouts because of their amazing trackers, right?
Yes.
And they shaved their head, they lost all their abilities, right? So
Yeah.
they didn't weren't able to do it. So this is your antenna. This is your, talking about Leo and the lion.
Yes.
This is your main. Don't
Yes.
forget it. This is your
Yeah.
main. And I've had being on the massage table with Darlene. I've had the experience of what it is to be like a lion and feel literally the energy flowing through each tip of that lion mane. It's like,
Mhm.
wow, it's just like a million antennas like this, right? Reading the atmosphere. It was like amazing. And then I understood why the lion has the mane like that, right? Powerful, powerful stuff. This is the Lion's Gate we're in the midst of, right? So what do you know about the Lion's Gate from an astrological point of view? Is this
Sorry, say that again, Tyson.
What do you know about the Lion's Gate as from an astrological point of view? Is supposed to be running from now until the middle of October, I think. Have you heard
I
of
don't
that?
really, no, I don't, not really familiar with that.
All right, well, let me just see if I can find it quickly. So, yeah, and so I mean, again, cosmology and different energy portals and everything. It's really interesting to, are they real? Are these, what are they all about? So let me just see if I can find this quickly here. Who's this guy named Tyhson? Oh yeah, there's Tyhson right there. Okay. Okay.
Well, one thing I can say while you're looking that up
Yeah.
is whether or not you think something is real. Um, you really just have to know that you can create almost anything in your life just by the process of visualization, and that will bring it into being. And for instance, in physics, because I'm quite fascinated with how physics works, trying to basically understand some of the basic laws, which even physicists don't understand anymore because everything keeps changing. But they actually knew about this, what's called the Higgs boson, the God particle.
Yeah.
They knew that that had to exist, even though they couldn't see it. And just by putting that out there, that this had to be out there, they actually found it.
Yeah. Well, did they create it? We all create the world we live in. So they probably
Yeah.
created the particle,
Well, I think they did.
right? So
I
here
think
you
they
are. There's
did.
the Lionsgate portal. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So from an astrological point of view, I don't know if that makes sense or not. I mean, certainly for me, I know the Lion's Gate is in all the mystical teachings. The Lion's Gate is really an interdimensional portal between worlds. It's like the end of one civilization, or one, I'm going to say one civilization and the starting of another, right?
Yeah.
And so these are portals or gateways, and the lion is always the guardian of this gateway, right?
Yeah. Well,
But
I don't know if you remember, but I actually, now that you brought this up, I actually talked about this. I think it was a couple of Mondays ago. I talked about the sun being in alignment with Sirius.
well, there you are. So they're very
Yeah, but
serious.
it doesn't connect with this particular time. But there are, of course, different ways of looking at how you can find things in the sky.
Right.
But the sun, our sun is a star. And when our sun is aligning with the other stars up there, you do get these portals for sure. And that's
Absolutely.
part of how I did my research with my cards, is I found the sun in front of all the major stars that we can see and have identified. And there are, of course, thousands and thousands of them, that like every star up there has a story. Like it's just ancient. These stars that comprise the zodiac signs, like the signs of Libra and Scorpio, are composed of hundreds of mainline stars, and every star has a meaning. So yes, it's all fascinating.
Yeah, and
And
each one of us is a star too. I mean, we're made of stars, so each
well, we
one of us
are,
has
we
an
are,
alignment too of that cosmology, right? That's why we're
yeah,
sort of like a step down transducer of that energy from the central sun, right? All the way down to little old us, right? But the exciting thing about that is, because we are part of that whole, we have all that power of creation that is ours once we realize that we are a sovereign human being and one with all it is. We actually get to play in the multiverse, right? Instead of in this little tiny belief system we have called the matrix, right? So it's a very exciting time as we let go of the dominant belief system and realize that we're big kids now, and we don't have to do what we're told, and we can make some our own decisions. And collectively, when we come together in a group, there's amazing things that we can actually manifest into creation, like a better world to live in. So very exciting times as we learn, as we sort of, it's like we're in our teenage years, right?
mm-hmm.
Learning how to go.
Tyson, do you know who Jerry Garcia is?
Yes, I do know who Jerry
Do
Garcia
you
is.
know it's his birthday today?
Well, happy birthday, Jerry.
And so is Peter O'Toole
Hi, Peter.
and Yves Saint Laurent, famous designers. And what all these people have in common is, because they were born today, the sun is directly in front of a star called Gyanfar. And Gyanfar is a star that is all about worldly power.
Hmm.
And so anybody born today, and all of us living through this energy of today, can kind of tap into some of this energy and this interest in esoteric subjects and religion and science and medicine. And so again, that to me is just again confirmation that here's the sun up in the sky today, and it's aligning with this very powerful star with this story
Right. The
of,
story and a
of
legend and the
you know
history. And
of worldly power. And
yeah.
look at Jerry Garcia and what he was able to do with. And that's part of what I love about astrology, is just looking at all of the examples out there. To me, it's just so great to see what people do with their lives.
Yeah, you got access to a cosmological book which includes everybody on the planet. So you're very lucky, right?
Well, and I think for anybody, if you want to be, if you want to have a mentor, just look up who's born today,
Hmm.
who's born today, and then like look what they've done with their lives, and then just go, Well, maybe I can encapsulate a little bit of that in, a little bit of their story into my story today.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm all about. I want to give people hope, and I want to kind of give people a little bit of inspiration, which is why I call my business Astral Inspiration.
Right. Yeah. A little inspiration at this time. Not perspiration too, but inspiration is a good thing, right?
Well, we certainly all need it now because we're all going through such an incredible period of lockdown, and with that comes the loneliness. Oh my God, people are so lonely now, Tyson. It's so sad.
Yeah. And if you're lonely out there, why don't you phone in toll free in North America? Because we can introduce you to a tribe of weird and wonderful people like ourselves that are probably just as crazy as you are, and you'll feel right at home with a
Exactly.
group of people
Yes,
that love you and get who you are.
that's
So if you're
right.
feeling out of sorts, it just means that the tribe that you're hanging out doesn't understand you. So you need to go find your tribe, right?
That's
And,
right. That's
and
right. And thank goodness we're a global community now. And yes, it's not, you can't actually, we can't hug each other anymore, but you can
oh,
kind of
I gay
do a
people,
Zoom hug. You can do a Zoom hug.
right? Yeah. Well, it's interesting because people are getting hold of me for I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe the Libran energy, like you're saying, people are from all over the world are reaching out like they've never reached out to me before. Like it's crazy. It's just like, wow, I don't know. I just like, what's happening, right? What's this all about, Alfie? Yeah. So it's like an exciting time. So truly, if you're feeling lonely, and I know so many people are,
Yeah.
and you're the oddball in your family because they just don't get you. Guess what? They're not supposed to get you, and you're not here to fit in. In actual fact, with all the empaths and heart-centered entrepreneurs and highly sensitive people that I work with, I'd say you're not here to fit in. You're here to change the world. So let's help you learn who you are, why you incarnated, and what are your amazing gifts, and how to deliver it on the planet. Because I don't know about you, but I want to live in a more humane, loving planet, and the sooner the better.
Yes. And for people who are dealing with family members that give them a hard time, um, I mean, I've had my share of this. I've got an older brother and sister and a younger brother and sister, and we've certainly been up and down the roller coaster with each other. And I came to this realization years ago that oftentimes you are incarnating into families where you are meant to help these people. Like these people are definitely like if you think you're so great, like yeah, prove it. Like how do you help out your family members? Like how do you raise their consciousness? It's like, yeah, you're so great, prove it.
Yeah.
It's
If
such
you
a
think you
time.
really got your proverbial S together,
Yeah.
then go see your mom and see how long you last, right?
Yeah, truly. That's a great one. Yeah. And
Yeah,
so, start.
I would maybe like go maybe survive 5 minutes, and then I was a babbling idiot, with the to-do list that my mom gave me that I could never finish, right? It was just like amazing. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a sovereign human being, gonna stand my ground, and boom, 10 minutes later, I'm
Well, and you know what I'm noticing, especially with the Jupiter retrograding for Scorpio. So if you have a Scorpio ascendant like I do, or a moon in Scorpio, or a really loaded eighth house in your chart, or you're just a card carrying Scorpio, you're going to be having a lot of those retro fits right now with your family and your family members. And so, yeah, you think you're so like shit hot. Yeah, go out and hang out with your younger sister or younger brother that pisses you off.
and explain to them what you're doing with your life. See what they.
Yeah, let's see how evolved you are after 10 minutes with one of your siblings. Yeah.
That's right.
So if you are a Scorpio, you're going to see that happening for sure in the next couple of months. Like we are truly Tyson in a time where like, yeah, yeah, you think, I mean, like you can really see, like I was saying for you, for the Sagittarians out there, like your local environments are going to show you what a great person you are, or what you need to do to like yeah, to work things out. I mean, the world is constantly showing us who we are. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to let you know, we're in the midst of organizing the gathering of the eagles. And that's from the Bible. The eagles is at this time of transformation and change on the planet. And there's beings, according to legend, that have been here since the time of creation and will be here to the very end of the creation of humans. And they are part of the what would be called the bird tribe, right? again.
Mhm.
The star people, they call them, you could call them star people. The funny thing is they show up, they look like hobos or like street people or like nobody that you would recognize,
Yeah,
think, what a
right.
piece of whatever. And they have a tendency to say something pithy to you that like blows your little mind. And then you turn around and they're gone. They disappeared into the void, like
Oh,
swallowed up by the street and gone. So we just did an interview, an hour and 45 minutes with Menno Paul, who in the 70s and 80s was guided all over the planet to talk what he calls to these eagles. He was sent, and he had to trust his guidance to go here, there, and he would be told which hotel to book in and how to dress, and that he would meet so and so, and there would be so and so, and he'd tell them about these end times. That,
mm,
and his story is that there will come a time where there'll be a major transition. You'll find yourself in a valley, in a lush valley with people that some of them that you've known and some of them won't, but there'll be one person that's like this eagle that has a free premonition or been told about this, who will help you understand that they've gone through a major transition. And it's like Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible. You don't turn back to try and reclaim what was, because if you do, you're lost, right? And so it's literally like a interdimensional portal from one way of being to another. And so the book is called Gathering of the Eagles. It's never been published. It's been PDF form and passed out to various people by word of mouth. It's been all around the world, translated into many different languages. And I've been trying to see if we can get a gathering of eagles together for a couple of years since 2016. And this is the year that it's going to happen. And we're going to be doing it at a forest sanctuary. Part of it will be going into the old growth forest, which is one of my favorite things to do on the planet, is go hug the old ancient trees that are 500, or more years
yeah,
old, that have all that wisdom. And also we'll be doing probably some forest reclamation, going into old growth forests that have certain parts of their structure that needs to be rehabilitated by bringing in, say, wild ginger or whatever, that helps bring that wholeness back to that area. There'll be guided meditations. We'll be on all day lines. So we'll be working with sacred geometry. Then the last time that I was with Menno Pauls, 10, 12 years ago, I reminded him, last time we gathered around the pyramid at a friend's house, we had 13 cloud ships show up on the horizon. And he said, yeah, I looked out the window. I was the first one that saw this cloud ship, and I saw the vortex inside spinning in the cloud ship. And then we went out onto the road, and there was 13 of them in the sky. It was near sunset, so they were all lit up in the setting sun. It
oh,
was so
lovely,
dramatic. There was
lovely.
pictures in the local paper. They call them venticular, whatever they call these
Yeah,
clouds, because we can't talk about space cloud,
yeah,
UFOs or whatever. So I know from past experience, when 12 or more are gathered in my name, right? There's something incredible that happens with that magic number. So we're calling 24 people together, 12 for the inner circle, and 12 people to be in service, and we're going to rotate in. So you got a time to do service and you have time to be one of the 12. And we're just going to, through guidance and direction, see what emerges out of it.
lovely.
Yeah. And then for the last 3 days, we'll be coming here. And it's an opportunity for people like yourself, if you were involved, to talk about what you're teaching and how it fits into this whole new phase that we're going into. Why is it important that you know astrology, or why is it important to whatever? Mine will be earth wisdom, geomancy. Why is it important to work with the elementals, and the angelic kingdom? Why is that important? And for sanctuary, why is it important to work with old growth forests, and what is their function in making this a more humane planet to live on? So yeah, so it'll be 6 days, 3 days in the forest and 3 days here, which will go internationally through Zoom and share the wisdom that we gathered over the 3 days in the forest, which has, by the way, has no cell phone, right? We're in the middle of, we're gone, we're in the void. So there you are. So if any of what you're saying relates to you in listening to the show, and you feel, hey, I must be an eagle. I feel this clarion call. I got to be part of that. Then you can just phone the number that's on the screen, 1-866-369-7464. My name's Tyhson, and we'll all get you lined up and see if you're supposed to show up or not. So the call goes out to many, 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 and many will be called, and some will show up, and some won't. Sounds like life.
Does.
So there you are.
Yes, it does indeed.
So yeah, I'm excited by that, and it'll be really quite an interesting time. So
And what I could just say, to piggyback on your wonderful presentation there, Tyson, is the particular alignment right now between the sun and the moon. You know how I talk about everybody's got a power
yeah,
time. So that's based on the sun moon alignment at your birth. But of course, I'm always looking at it in terms of what's going on now. And so right now we are in what's called the last quarter phase of the moon, where the sun is in Leo and the moon is in Gemini. So the moon is coming home, and she's moving towards the new moon phase again. And this is a 29.5 day cycle. So we're in the last quarter phase of this journey. And this is the time for all of us to go into what I call the inner warrior stance.
mm,
The inner warrior is a time when you don't really have to see that things are manifesting out in the world as you wish or want. It's a time of inner reflection, inner work, and it's a time to break down your own internal barriers. And so a lot of stuff does not show up in the last quarter phase of the moon. And people can often get very frustrated because of this. And I just tell them, well, just wait, just wait 6 days. Just wait till we hit the new moon cycle again and things will start rolling. But I would encourage everyone to get a lot of sleep. I'm particularly born in this cycle. I'm born in the last quarter phase.
yeah,
And ever since I was a kid, like I needed like 9 hours of sleep. Like I have to have 9 hours of sleep. That's just the way I'm made. And so for all of us, we need more sleep right now because we're kind of like, it's almost like our body is on autophagy. It's eating itself. It's getting rid of all of the deleterious psychological sludge, shall
yeah,
we say.
absolutely. I would say that in the readings that I've been doing in a quantum sound therapy, which was looking at people's chakras and what's going on, I would say a lot of people's upper chakras are wide open and receiving really good guidance, but they're not grounded sufficiently, which will lead to burnout. So if you understand grounding and know how to do it, I suggest you do even more. So if you're hugging trees, hug more trees. If you're walking barefoot on the grass, do that more. If you're going swimming, try and fit in more swimming. If you're walking in nature, try and do a little bit more walking in nature. It's like we need more grounding right now to ground these incredible planetary energies that are flowing into us so that we can let the energy flow through us and be grounded into Mother Earth. Hopefully that makes sense, but that's
Right.
what I'm getting.
So I'm just checking in my ephemeris. The new moon is on the 8th, August the 8th. So what's the date today?
It is August the 2nd.
Right. So we are going to have the new moon in 6 days, as I said there. So yeah, so we're in the last phase of the moon right now. So we had the last new moon was on July the 10th. So from July the 10th to August the 8th is one cycle of the moon phase. So yeah, the next 6 days, just get a lot of sleep, do some great meditation. In fact, as we pull into the last couple of days, I love the best is the last, right? They always say the best for the last. So on the 6th and 7th of August, which will be Friday and Saturday, wonderful weekend for deep trance work, deep meditation work, massage work, qigong, whatever you're doing on the mystical path or on your evolutionary growth. August 6th and 7th this weekend would be fantastic to do any kind of personal
So
work.
this is sort of a time of synthesis. Am I getting this correct?
Yes, and it's a time when, that moon cycle, when it comes to the end,
Yeah.
it's like, it's always like in every tradition, there's a story about the dark of the moon. Every tradition, every indigenous tradition works on this phase where when you're coming to the end of the cycle in the dark of the moon, is when you have your deepest sleeps, your deepest experiences. It's the time to take the ayahuasca or the psychedelics or the mushrooms. It's the time when the veil between the dimensions drops.
Yeah, this is the
Completely
time
drop.
we walk between worlds, right?
Yes. And it's actually the feeling I have. I don't know about you, but every Christmas I experience this. It's almost like the whole month of December.
Oh
I
my
can feel
God.
the veil dropping
Yeah,
in the
between for
world.
me, between October and my birthday and December, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
one gigantic synthesis is going on where
Yeah.
it's just like the
Yeah.
snake shedding its skin and a new
Yeah.
skin being born. It's just
Yeah.
like wow.
Well, we have to remember we are spiritual beings in bodies, and this is why there's so much, travail and chaos about our sexuality and just the way we feel about our bodies, because this really isn't who we are. Like
Right.
it's like a temporary, piece of clothing we're wearing. It's like, like we're gonna throw out this suit and this dress and this outfit. It's like we are spiritual bodies that are just being blessed right now with physical forms because let's face it, it's like you really know you got your act together when you can manifest stuff from a physical, based place, being a spiritual being, because it's so easy. I know my mother passed away when I was 18, and she used to come to me in dreams like all the time, and she taught me so much, and she shared with me her different realities, and she really taught me. It's like it's so easy here where I am. Like you think about something and it
Yeah,
manifests.
and it manifests, and this is what we're going to when we talk about this gathering of the egos. We're learning that when we amp our power up collectively, that miracles will happen, or what we would call miracles. And as we collectively raise our energy, our individual energy will rise too, and we will literally be manifesting things into existence very quickly.
Exactly. And the opposite is so true too. And people need to be aware of this. Like be careful who you're associating with because it goes the
Exactly.
other way as well. You can really drop down physically, mentally, emotionally on all levels if you hang out with negative people because
Yeah.
they pull your energy down. Low energy, and unfortunately can trump high energy just by its heavy
Yeah.
wavelength.
Yeah. There's one of the Dowsers I worked with said it really well. The dominant energy, good, bad, or ugly, always wins, right?
Yeah.
And so the dominant energy in a room is the energy that everybody else entrains to. So, as a
Or
sovereign human being, you want to be the dominant energy, standing for, with the law of one, do no harm, the most benevolent outcome for all. When you walk in that room, you want to be setting the vibrational frequency, not consciously like this, but just by you being you, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
This,
I kind of like the 100th monkey syndrome, where like if just like a small portion of us get our act together, we can figure it out.
yeah, where is that 100th monkey anyway? I'm looking for it.
It's
What's
up in-
this, Mr. Michael? Mr. Michael. The who, what? The music is running, okay? So at the end of the show? Okay. All right. Because
Hey,
it says 158 here.
Hey, darling, the music's always running.
The music. Oh.
It's just
All
a
right,
matter
thank
of
you,
like,
Michael.
you
Get
hear
some
it.
sleep. All right, bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
We're back at the same time, same place next week.